Hopefully I don't get anyone else's face. All right, so we'll come to seated to start. This is your yin and your yang practice. We'll want a yoga block, a bolster, or a pillow to replace that bolster. We can start either on our shins or cross-legged in our easy pose. Closing the eyes and just coming into your intention right now. Maybe you're not ready to dig up an intention. So instead, just ask your body what it needs and just be mindful of your thoughts as they come in and out. Sometimes the best messages come through when we are still. So look at this part of your practice as finding that stillness. Finding that peace and calm. We'll come into our Ganesha Mudra by bringing the hands to our heart and making a C with both hands that you're creating this block. We'll bring the hands to the front of the chest, kind of like that opera singer. And then start to pull the hands away from each other, soften the eyes back down. Picturing Ganesha, that elephant deity, and asking Ganesha to remove any obstacle that is in your way right now. Could be the heaviness of our society. It could be something that is just peeking its way into this next year with you that we don't want. It could be an old habit or a doubt. And ask Ganesha to clear that space and to remove that obstacle with his beautiful trunk. So maybe visualizing him reach out and picking that obstacle up and throwing it aside. And then we'll switch our grip the other way and bringing that sense of trust to our practice. Trusting that everything will fall into place. So breathe in on that affirmation. Breathing back out. Bring your hands face down, bowing the head down. And then we'll find our way, if you are sitting on your shins, we'll find our way to our bum. And we'll start just to walk the right hand out, reaching that left arm, extending over, finding some space through the side of the ribs, side of the body. And then exhale, lower that hand down, we'll reach the other side. And coming back to center, we'll pick up the knees, bring them into our chest, find a seated rabbit pose. And lifting that head nice and proud above the heart. Today's practice, we're going to start with some yin, then come into our yang, and then finish with yin. So we'll come into our tabletop and we'll grab either our yoga blocks or if you have a taller bolster. You're gonna just bring it to the top of your mat. I'm gonna set up for our baby dragon. So we'll start with the right foot. Right foot's gonna step forward, and then we'll pick up the back leg and heel toe that leg, plant the knee down so you have more of this ramp. And we're going to bring our hands to our blocks, framing the front foot or resting our hands on our bolster. And because it is yin, I will put a timer on so that we are equal on both sides. All right, so starting now, bringing that knee above our ankle, softening the shoulders down. Try not to go to our full version of this pose that we might be familiar with in our yang, in our vinyasa. That's why we're staying taller, really tapping into the tissue right now. So our yang stretches the muscle, our yin is working on that physical level into the tissues. And asking yourself if you found your edge, a space where we get a little uncomfortable, and then can you soften into that edge? So I'm not asking you to be so uncomfortable, get to a place where you can hold this. We'll stay for 3 long breaths here. We'll slowly start to press up, move our blocks, move our props to the top of our mat. Pick up that leg and then move through your cats and your cows. Okay, great. We'll come back to stillness and we'll step our left foot forward, picking up that back knee, taking it a little further to the back edge of our mat, finding that ramp in the back quad, and then bringing our blocks or our bolster back, setting that timer again. Pressing lower back, hip forward. Compression here is from the belly to the thighs, so it should just be soft or medium compression. And this time we'll focus more on our emotional body. So breathing into that sacral chakra, lower back. Sending that space of love, sending that space of healing. And then we'll stay for 3 more breaths. Big inhale, side out of the mouth. Inhale. Exhale out. One more inhale. And exhale out. We'll press ourselves back, moving our props, coming into your cat and your cow again. So as you might have noticed, that wasn't a full length of what we'll usually hold in our yin posture. Especially in those hips, I don't want us to come to that space where we're going to get distracted or feel uncomfortable yet. We do want to find some discomfort. You want to find that edge, but still being safe with our hips and our lower back. If you have a blanket or a thinner bolster, I invite you to grab that now. So I'm going to use my smaller bolster. I'm going to place it on the back of my ankles and sit back on my heels. You could use your blocks and frame your knees or your hips. I'm just going to have one block handy today. And then we're going to come back forward and tuck the toes. You can either brace yourself and stay here, or you can sit fully on the heels to release the fascia of the feet. We'll get tall from the navel to crown. Hands can rest on your block that's there for your support, or hands can just come to your thighs. Close the eyes. On that physical level, spread through the toes, grip them into the mat. And now shift your focus to Manipura, to our solar plexus. These meridian lines are connected with our gut. So if anything starts to flare up in that space, breathe deep into the belly. Staying for 3 more breaths. And we'll come back to table, moving our block, moving our blanket or our smaller bolster in front of us, and just take your feet from side to side to bring some blood back into the feet. Now our counter pose to that, we're going to work into the shins now. Option number 1 is bringing the blanket or our softer block. I don't recommend a cork block for this. Bringing a blanket or a bolster underneath your knees. So we're going to lift the knees up, and then we'll bring our bolster underneath. We'll show with this bolster as well, so that supporting the knees and the shins. We're sitting on the tops of our feet. We're working into the front of the shin. If you have a knee injury, you could do 1 foot at a time instead, pointing the toes, pressing the hand into the top of the foot is another option, and then switching. I'll let you know when we're halfway if you're going to choose that option. If you don't want to use any props, another option is just to float the legs and just stay right there. Props are just great too. Give a bit more support. So we'll sit up tall again in the spine. Try to avoid compression in the lower back. Breathing into the top of the knee and the shin, finding that line of energy down to the top of the foot. Or halfway, if you're doing 1 foot at a time, you can switch now. And we'll slowly come out of it. Tuck our toes and come right into your down dog. You can walk your dog, paddle your feet. Finding stillness again, we'll come to the top of our mat, moving our props as we come into our vinyasa part of the practice. We'll inhale, look forward as you lengthen. And exhale, fold. Roll up, coming to stand. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to Anjali Mudra. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale. Lead with the left leg. Stepping yourself back to your plank or your table. Lowering down into your chaturanga. Lifting the heart to a baby cobra, squeezing at the top. And then pressing back into your down dog. Maybe readjusting the feet, keeping the hands right underneath our shoulders. Looking forward, find your way to the center or the top of your mat, whatever is available to you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Go all the way back up to stand. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale. Arms extend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Still leading with that left side. Left leg steps back. Finding plank or table. Chaturanga Dandasana. Lifting to your baby cobra. Passing back, down dog. This time, lead with your right foot as you step forward. Then the opposite. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Roll all the way up to stand. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Surya Namaskar A, leading with the right side this time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Step back with our right. And then our left. Lower to your knees. Finding your chaturanga. Lifting to your heart, baby cobra. And then pressing back to your down dog or your tabletop. Taking 3 more breaths of rest right there. We'll lead with that right leg, step it forward. Then our left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Roll all the way up with the spine. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, our hands to heart. One more time, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, stepping back with our right foot. Finding your plank or finding your table. Move with your own breath this time. Taking as long as you need or as short as you need. And then we'll all come back to our table and we'll step our left foot forward. Bringing our blocks to frame the foot or using a block just the top of our mat. And lift ourselves into a crescent, softening the shoulders. Pressing through the back, the top of the back foot. And then we'll exhale our hands down, pick up that back knee and step in, setting up for pyramid pose. So my left leg, front leg's gonna be long. My hands are gonna rest on the block. And then back to our front knee, moving the props, stepping ourselves back into a plank, and then lowering to the knees and coming into a child's pose. And come back up to table, stepping our right foot forward, moving our blocks again to frame the foot or just come to the top of our mat. Press your back, left hip forward, and then lifting yourself to crescent. Soften in the shoulders. Exhale our hands down and then picking up that back leg, stepping it in and finding your pyramid pose. So my left foot's on a 45 angle, my hip presses forward, and my front leg lengthens. Then back into the front knee. We'll step ourselves back into our plank, and then we'll press up into our down dog. Okay, we'll make our way into or back to our table and grabbing our thinner bolster or our blanket. It's going to come underneath our chest. So we're going to come to our belly. We're setting up for either Sphinx or seal pose. I'm going to place that bolster or rolled up blanket underneath the bra line. You can come to your elbows into the earth, or if you want to take variation of seal, you can take your hands off of the mat, point through the tops of the fingers, and lift your heart is another variation of elbows lifted. So your choice. If you don't have the props, then I do recommend probably just coming to elbows in the earth without the use of the bolster. And if this is too much, then walk your elbows closer to the top of your mat so we're not lifting as much with the chest. Having that bolster allows us just to feel a bit more supported. I'll set the timer, closing our eyes, and this time focusing on the middle of the forehead. into our third eye. Softening the brow, softening the jaw, softening the shoulders, and then letting go of the grip of the hands if you are in that same soft grip now. It's okay in our yin if our shoulders start to travel up to our ears, as long as it's not creating pinching or harm. Feel free to adjust when you need to. Part of our yin practice is finding space and some stillness. So you might not hear my voice for the next few breaths. Dig into your own dialogue right now. Maybe repeating an affirmation that you've been working on. If the mind has wandered back to your breath, and count the length of the inhale and try to extend the length of the exhale. We'll stay for 3 more breaths. We'll gently press ourselves back into our child's pose. We'll come into table and we will move our bolster. If it's a thinner bolster, we'll move it to the top of our mat. If you have a taller bolster, then I'm going to recommend that maybe you find a rolled up blanket or use a foam block, or you could always place your blanket over your cork block. We're going to rest the head on that piece in front of us. So this taller one might be too high. We're setting up for twisted branches. We're going to take our knees wide, setting up for child's pose, that same stance. Give yourself a hug Pay attention to what arm is on the bottom. I'm not going to cue which one to start with. And then lifting your elbows so that they're aligned with each other. Getting tall in our spine. We're going to allow ourselves to come forward, resting the forehead to that prop, and then reaching the arms to the long edges of our mat. Allow the back of the hands to rest to the earth. The bum is okay if it's lifted. That's okay. You can always even place another bolster or blanket on top of the ankles, focusing on the back of the shoulders and the heart chakra here. So keeping the head at neutral, the neck at neutral. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. And repeating the affirmations to yourself if you like. If I am love. I am nurtured. I am at peace. I am loved. I am nurtured. And I am at peace. You can continue to repeat those to yourself as your mantra, as your song. Staying for 3 more breaths. Using your core and little tuck of your chin to your chest to help roll you up. As you sit back on your heels, open the arms. We'll switch the grip. Opposite arm crosses over, stack the elbows, and then allow yourself to come back forward into your twisted branches. And see if you can arrive in the pose a little sooner than the first time. And asking yourself if you're holding any tension in the jaw or the neck, or if you're gripping the hands to the back of the shoulders. Remember to soften the hands down. We'll stay for 3 more breaths. Slowly rolling up, tucking the chin, engaging the core, maybe opening up the arms again. And for our counter pose, you might want to come into a little cat and cow. Just from your table, moving through some cats and cows to release the shoulders, to release the lower back. And we'll come to stillness for a moment. I will demo the next pose. We're going to come to our spine. I know that most of you have done this pose with me, but more in our yang practice and not held it as long in our yin. So I'll demo it first so you can see it because then we're coming down. So we're going to come to banana asana and we're walking our feet to the left and we're taking our upper body also to the left. What we don't want is the rolling of the shoulder. We don't want the lifting. We want to make sure that our hands reach overhead and then they lead to that corner. Same with the legs, so that we're finding this side body lateral stretch here, almost a C shape the side of the body, picking up the ankle, and the option to grab that top wrist and then soften the shoulders down. So we're not holding or pulling the whole time. So that will be our yin version of banana asana. So you can come to your spine, keep the body warm as we start to cool in our yin. So put your socks on, put your sweater back on, maybe even bring your blanket with you, and then come to your spine. And we will start right on that left side. So walk the feet to the left. Inhale the arms overhead, and then walk the upper body over towards the left too. So we're all going in the same direction, the feet and the upper body. And then option to cross the right ankle over. And then once you've grabbed a hold of that top wrist, then soften the shoulder back down. Closing the eyes or maybe placing a blanket or eye pillow over them. Staying for 3 more breaths on this side. We'll bring the upper body to center and we'll exhale the hands down just for a moment. And then we'll walk the feet to the other edge of our mat. That option of crossing the ankle again. And then inhaling the arms overhead and reaching to that right side of our mat, finding Banana Asana. Again, softening the shoulders and releasing the grip of the wrists. Even softening in the lower back and the glutes. Seeing if you can arrive in the pose. I am loved. I am nurtured. And I am at peace. We'll take 3 more breaths. Starting with bringing the upper body back, and then the legs, and taking your feet nice and wide. And finding your way into stillness, finding Shavasana. The most important way to live is to show our gratitude to those who have supported us. Even animals remember to repay the kindness shown to them. Parents who have raised us, teachers who have helped us develop, and the country where our lives are sustained. We should never forget that we are who we are today because of these. This is the first step for leading a life of gratitude. But how do we repay these kindnesses? The best way is to turn within and to lead with happiness and sending that happiness to those that have helped us. Everyone can overcome the sufferings of birth and death and realize their true happiness when they take care of themselves. So for this next few moments, or these next few moments, send gratitude to yourself. And then send gratitude for those in your life that have shaped who you are. A teacher, a parent, a friend. And as if they're right in front of you, send them a thank you. Thanking them for their selflessness, thanking them for their knowledge, and thanking them for their kindness. Inhale through the nose for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding the breath. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Placing a hand to the heart, or maybe even coming back to that Ganesha Mudra if you're seated with me. Having trust that everything will fall into place. And asking Ganesha, the universe, or whatever you believe in, to remove those obstacles for you. You don't have to carry all of that weight by yourself. If you are reclined, slowly roll to a side and meet us at seated. Breathe into that space of the heart, and we'll feel the warmth of our hands in our Ganesha Mudra Taking 3 deep breaths. Palms to third eye for our intuition, to our mouth for our kind words, and to our heart, Anahata, for compassion. Thank you for practicing this yin and yang practice today. Hope you have a great start to the rest of your day, whatever you get up to. Namaste.